Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Erik Vasquez, and I'm joined by my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes. She is coming straight from the Berg. She's got a lot to celebrate. Her hockey team won the cup, so I know she's stoked. She's stoked about that. She is none other than Shay Hickson. Shay, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I am feeling great about that, though, dude, even though it's been almost a week, actually. They won it a week ago tomorrow, so yeah, thank God we weren't actually recording during that episode, or we would absolutely would have rescheduled. I'm not even joking. Like, that was the one, I think that would have been the one priority, but now, thankfully, they closed it out in 4 games, and thank God I didn't have to go to game 5, because I don't think my stress and anxiety levels could have taken any more. So we came through. We're the champs now. Had a nice long weekend, and now my schedule is completely fucked up because I'm like, what do you mean it's Tuesday already? It feels like a Monday, but yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Montreal is the champs, so I'm excited to say the least. And then got my birthday coming up this weekend.
That's
so
right.
Excited about
That's right.
Yeah.
The birthday's coming up. Lots to celebrate.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff to talk about in tonight's episode. If this is your first time listening to the Ringside Rundown podcast, first off, thank you for taking the time to listen. And tonight we have a great episode because if you're a pro wrestling fan, we got a lot to cover. We got to talk about AEW Double or Nothing, and then also give our predictions for Clash in Italy that is happening Sunday afternoon. 2 p.m. That's also going to be a big show because 4 out of 5 of the matches are for titles. So a lot of high stakes matches and Clash in Italy. So we definitely have a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a packed show, and I'm ready to get into it. Are you ready?
I'm ready to get into it. Why don't we start talking about AEW Double or Nothing? I was actually excited for this pay-per-view. I know that sounds strange coming from me, but usually when it comes to AEW pay-per-views, they're so long that I kind of just wait till the next day, and if stuff gets spoiled for me, oh well, it's my own fault. But there was so much that I was looking forward to, mainly the main event, that I just said, I gotta watch this show live. I can't have anything spoiled for me, and I'm pretty glad that I did that. How about you?
Yeah, I'd say it was a pretty solid show, honestly. I mean, the biggest problem is the same problem that I think a lot of people are now starting to catch on to, and that's just the pay-per-view length for a Sunday night.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the excuse that the problem is not everybody had Monday off.
Yeah.
I was one of the lucky ones, but why do they keep fucking doing this, man? Like, it's just it's exhausting.
Not only that, public transportation shut down after 1 a.m. So a lot of people were stranded, had to figure out ways to get Ubers and taxis and stuff like that because the trains were shut down.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like you think they would stop making this mistake over and over again, but I feel like at this rate they just don't seem to care because I don't know. It's just, it's still frustrating because it's just like, well, and especially, and we'll get into it obviously a little bit later, but I feel like especially the match order did not do themselves any favors because putting a certain match towards the end of the card was a very, 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 very bad idea because it was a lot to pay attention to,
Right.
and when you're already almost running on empty to begin with, and we're not even to the main event, that was not a great idea. We even talked about it when the match was going on, but like I said, we'll save that for when we actually talk about it. But yeah, overall it wasn't terrible. There were some matches where it's just like, you could take it or leave it, but overall I didn't feel like I don't know, this is a tough one. I don't want to say, because I know our gauge is always, was it worth the money? For the most part, I'd say yes, it was. The ending, though, not so much. And I know you and I have a lot to talk about with that ending because we were confused, to say the
Yes,
least, about
yes.
how that ended. But we'll save that for the end, though. But yeah, overall, I'd say it was a pretty decent show.
Right, right. Well, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about all the matches on the main card only, but we're also going to give our match ratings for each match at the end of our little synopsis here. The show kicked off with FTR defending the AEW Tag Team Championships against Cage and Copeland. Now, this had a couple stipulations. It was an I Quit New York street fight where if Cage and Copeland were unable to defeat FTR, they would have to disband and go their own way, no longer being allowed to be a tag team. This was the one match that me and you differed on in our predictions. I predicted that FTR was going to retain, and I was wrong. But let's get into it. This was a wild way.
Okay, all right. I love how you immediately just like, no, we're gonna no, you don't get to escape it that easy, buddy. Like, come on, you thought you could literally just slide right through that, didn't you? No. Right off the bat, I took the belt back. Like, right off the bat.
Wow, that's okay. I'm gonna get it back on Sunday.
Yeah, clearly I don't get a break. Whoever's doing the like general managing of this promotion is not very fair. I don't even get a chance to celebrate. I have to turn right around and defend it.
That's right.
Not even a week later. This is some bullshit, but whatever. I'll keep the title.
Fighting champion.
I guess I gotta keep it going, so that's fine. I'll do it.
Well, you did win. You did win. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. You sound so excited about it, but I'll take it.
I have to eat crow there. But as far as the match, I said this was a wild way to kick off the show. There was pretty much no wrestling logic here, just four men and a lady beating the hell out of each other. We had barbed wire, hammer, chairs, and fire. What more could you ask for in a street fight? Cage and Cope locked Dax Harwood in a sharpshooter, with Cope using Spike to dig at the Harwood's forehead, and he yells, "I quit." Cage and Cope are the new tag champs, staying together for a little while longer. I actually really enjoyed this opener match. I thought it was great. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I think it was you said a pretty chaotic way to start the show. I feel like you touched on, there wasn't really a lot of wrestling logic or so much like actual technical wrestling here, but
Right.
it's an I Quit match, so you really shouldn't have expected that. And if you did, I need you to go back and remember what you were watching, because it's just like you should not have expected a technical masterpiece from these two, even though if they had to, they could. I mean, they have great chemistry, so it wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, it had pretty much anything you would expect when it comes to any type of hardcore AEW match. So it was yeah, we had so many things. We had Christian Cage saying, "I banged your mom." That was great. I think getting the crowd to chant that too was fucking hilarious. That was a nice touch. I enjoyed that. But yeah, it was pretty much what you would expect from a match like that. Nothing really that I can think of that I'm like, oh, I don't know why they did that, or oh, that was really bad. It all looked pretty clean as it could get with that. Beth coming back was great.
Yes.
Beat the shit out of Stokely, which was hilarious. But
Stokely got set on fire.
Yeah, it made sense, because when I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, he was the only one that really was just actually wearing clothing. Because could you imagine if Cash would have went through that like bareback first? That would no, that would have been painful. But yeah, no, solid start to the show. I can't really complain about it, especially since, got my title back. I feel like I live and die. I feel like I live and die by FTR. It seems like, 'cause I feel like every time I lose it or win it back, it has something to do with them, and I don't know if I like that or not. But today I will like it. Today I will enjoy it. So thank you to Flynn and Cage for giving me my title back and for getting their titles. So I gave this one a 3 3/4 flames.
Nice, nice. The one thing I did enjoy mostly about this match is that they kept it relatively ringside area. They really didn't go out to the crowd. They didn't go up the ramp. I think they knew with Stadium Stampede being the one that they're going to go all crazy, they did a smart thing and they kept it confined to the ringside area. So I thought that was really smart.
Yeah, and I think I did hear something. I don't know if it was just for the Stadium Stampede match, but I heard that like the New York Sports Commission wasn't going to allow them to fight in the crowd, and they didn't like allow blood apparently or something. Which I'm just like, that's kind of funny considering there was blood and other things. But I don't know why it was. I mean, maybe they just didn't want blood on fans. I guess maybe, but yeah, it was a little weird. But yeah, I feel like. And as we saw when we got to the Stadium Stampede match, it kind of just went a little too off the rails. So yeah, I agree. Keeping it kind of contained to just the ringside was the right call. Didn't, go too far off the rails too early. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. Great way to start the show. And yeah, I was enjoying it after that. Believe me, I was having a great time.
I bet, champ. I bet. Anyway,
your text too, because I sent you like, and it's give a little peek behind the curtain for the listeners. Is that if I win, I tend to send the the GIF of Rollins like swinging the belt around, and so I did. And what did they even say? I think I just said it's coming. I think the title's back, coming back home, or
it's coming home.
And you did not respond for the longest time, which I knew you were busy, but I'm just like, he just doesn't want to acknowledge it. It's fine. He'll have to do it at some point. And you finally answered. I don't even know how long into the show. And all you said was, yeah. Like, all right.
I was hot.
You were heated, but
I was. Because I was like, of course, the opening match, and I lose it already.
You were throwing your equipment around. You were just pissed. Poor Leroy was scared, but
that's exactly what would happen. What's happening for sure.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yes, definitely. But moving on, we had a great match that I was definitely looking forward to for the International Championship. Kazuchika Okada defending the title against stablemate Konosuke Takeshita. Now, they're both in the Don Callis family, so this was a little weird. They've been having issues with each other for the longest time, and the longest time as a wrestling fan, and as a wrestling fan, there's no way you're not fans of both Okada and Takeshita. So you definitely want to see this match. It was definitely a match, and they tried to play it up on commentary that's like different generations. You have the generation of Okada, who is the legendary Okada, going to go down as one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of all time. And you have Takeshita, who is really taking the world by storm as a guy as solid in the ring as you can get. Just delivers grade A performances every single time he goes out there. So this was definitely a match that people wanted to see, and I was one of them. This was a great contest that gave us glimpses of the old Okada from New Japan. It was hard-hitting and evenly contested throughout the entirety of the match. Great near falls towards the end to keep the crowd hot. Okada fails to take Takeshita out with the Rainmaker, and he falls victim to Raging Fire for the 3. Great stuff. I gave it 4 out of 5. What'd you think of the match?
I thought it was great. I know we had talked about in the predictions episode that we were hoping it wasn't going to be one of those things where we've waited so long for this match that it was going to kind of crumble under the weight of the expectations. But no, I think they actually met them. It was super thought out, super methodical. And I think the thing that like impressed me was the fact that I think our biggest problem with Okada's matches in AEW is that they're always just slow. They always just seem like a step behind most of the other matches, or it always takes like forever to get to that extra gear, or it feels like we're going to get there, but we never do. This match didn't feel that way, surprisingly. It was just, I think, because they're both so compatible with each other and their styles and how they work well together, and clearly they have the chemistry. And I feel like you touched on it perfectly, that I feel like it kind of brought back the Rainmaker that I think people had been wanting to see more of in AEW. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to see that. It was nice to see for once that little like added drama with Don Callis, where Okada kind of wanted to do some damage on the outside, and he's just like, no, we can't do that. You guys are like in the family. And then Takeshita just was like, you think I give a fuck about that? And just like fully just drops him on his head, and he's just like, I don't give a shit. Like, that just shows you these two do not like each other at all, and plays more into the fact that we knew that Takeshita was getting sick of dealing with Don Callis and being in the family. So it's like, who's he to care what Callis wants? So I thought that was a nice little touch there. And thank God, finally, they remembered that Takeshita should win this match. And boy, did he. And it was well deserved. I think, like we said, if he wasn't going to win this match, I don't know when he was going to. I feel like it would have been very hard to dig themselves out of that hole creatively.
Right.
So I'm glad they finally went with what should have probably happened a long time ago. But you know what? If that was the match we got and we had to wait for, I would say it was definitely worth the wait. I gave it 4 out of 5 flames.
Nice. After the match, there seems to be a breakdown in communication between Takeshita and the rest of the Don Callis family. When it looks like they're about to attack Takeshita, the music of Kyle Fletcher hits and the Protostar makes his return to a rowdy reception. The rest of the Don Callis family exits the ring while Fletcher and Takeshita embrace. Fletcher raises the hand of Takeshita, then with no warning, clocks Takeshita with a lariat, betraying him. Fletcher hits Takeshita with a brainbuster. Then, with the help of Rocky Romero and Mark Davis, Fletcher clobbers Takeshita with the International Championship. It looks like Konosuke Takeshita has been excommunicated from the Don Callis family. What'd you think about the return of Kyle Fletcher and the whole way this went down? I had a bad feeling about it. It didn't give me good feelings.
Yeah, you and me both, unfortunately. I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of Fletcher, so it was nice to see him back, and honestly, a lot sooner than I think a lot of people expected, because it sounded like he was messed up pretty good. I think I remember hearing, what was it? He tore his meniscus. He like screwed his ankle up. He like did a number on his lower leg, and somehow, some way, just avoided surgery. Like, I don't know how he did it. Like, it was super impressive. You know, good on him for working hard to get back, and still looks great. Yeah, when he came back, though, I'm just like, don't do this. Please don't do this. I know, I had that feeling, and it's like, God damn it, Kyle. Like, I still like you, but holy fuck, you can be an asshole sometimes, but that's what we wanted. Takeshita's finally out of the Don Callis family. I think they made that very clear, but now we're going to probably get Takeshita and Fletcher, and oh boy, is that match going to be fun.
Yes.
That one is going to be something I'm really looking forward to, so... Yeah, it sucks that the bromance is over, but you know what? We're gonna get a great match out of it. So I suppose we can suffer through it. I guess, but
yes, no more Proto Sheeta. It is Proto Kata now. Proto Kata reigns supreme now with the Don Callis family. The ever-growing numbers of the Don Callis family. I think everybody's in the Don Callis. I think we are in the Don Callis family.
I think we are.
Yeah, so just really interesting times. But like you said, if this leads to a Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita match, that is money. That is definitely something that people are going to want to see, and they would definitely pay a price for. So can't wait for that to go down.
Yeah, and they better put that on a pay-per-view. Don't you dare waste that on a TV anything. That definitely is a pay-per-view worthy match.
Yes, definitely. All right, moving on. We have some Owen Hart Cup Tournament quarterfinal match between Athena, the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, taking on Mina Shirakawa. Now, on paper, this looks like a mismatch, but to be honest, this was probably Mina Shirakawa's best showing. Mina wrestled very smart, targeting the knee of Athena. Despite working on one bad leg, Athena is able to climb to the top rope and hit the O-face for the win, advancing in the Owen Hart Cup Tournament. I gave this one 3.5 flames out of 5. What'd you think of the match?
I thought it was solid. I would agree with you. This was definitely Mina's best showing in AEW so far. But you really shouldn't be surprised. When you're in the ring with somebody like Athena, you need to step up or you're going to get massively exposed. So I didn't think that was ever going to happen because Mina's solid in the ring. So I was expecting a very good match out of these two, and we got it. Boy, did we get it. It was definitely a lot of fun. It was It did seem a little like off in some spots though. I
Mm,
don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. It just almost seemed like they wanted to try something, but then it kind of just got thrown off, maybe timing or something. It wasn't the cleanest match in the world, which
right.
was a shame because it could have been, but it happens. It's not something that's going to completely take it like down a flame or something for me, but yeah, it was just a fun match. I think the one thing that made me a little upset about this though is that I really didn't I don't know about you. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. I didn't really want to see this match on the card though,
Mm,
because obviously poor Willow had to relinquish the TBS title and she had
right.
to withdraw from the tournament, which is a shame because I mean we picked Willow in her match, so that kind of sucked. But hopefully it's not going to be too long that we're going to be without her because I feel like obviously the division's better with her in it. But that meant that Windsor's going to have to go against the wild card now. You mean to tell me you had a wide open opportunity to have a, in some way, shocking who's coming back? Who's the wild card? Could it be, I don't know, could it be Ruby Soho? Could it be, if there's a God Brit? And at this rate, who knows? I doubt it. But still, you could have had a nice surprise or like a nice little like moment on your pay-per-view and you decided to take it off and you're going to probably waste it on a Dynamite or a Collision, which I find rather stupid. I feel like they should have just kept it, but clearly they knew better than us. But I just think it was a wildly missed opportunity. So what do you think? Do you agree?
I agree with the sentiment that it probably would have been a better match to throw on TV than the pay-per-view card. I do agree with that because again, we do talk that the length of the card is something that is seen as a detriment in our perspective.
Mhm.
So this definitely would have been, if I had the power to shave off a couple matches, this would have been one that I would have moved to some TV time. I do think it's unfortunate what happened with Willow. And like you said, it gives an opportunity for there to be some something to talk about, some general hoopla, you know,
Yeah.
that AEW can really capitalize on. For some reason, I think I read a tweet. I don't know how substantial this is and where it's really come from, so it could just be a tweet for tweeting's sake. But they had said that Britt Baker's fine. They just have nothing creatively available for her.
Such a
Uh,
load of shit, but whatever.
you know, and
Anyway,
I'm just
yeah.
thinking if she's a valuable asset, because Tony Khan likes to make her seem like she's such a valuable asset every time he's asked about her. He's he's very afraid to give his real opinion because if she's a valuable asset, she hasn't been on TV for over a year, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
How much of a valuable asset is that? It just seems like you're just holding her hostage because you don't want to see her go anywhere else, you know.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of what it feels like. So I am interested in seeing who's the wild card gonna be. Hopefully it's somebody that's intriguing that you go, wow, that's a really good surprise. AEW pulled it off. But you know, you never know. Sometimes these things do fall flat and become underwhelming. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest problem that especially with the whole Brit thing is just for whatever reason, and it's not like she doesn't get brought up a lot. It seems like every month or so or every few months or so somebody in some report or whatever asks about her and he gives the same answer every goddamn time.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally the same answer, which is maybe a few different words mixed around. It's always like you said, oh, she's such a valuable asset to our roster, and we're just waiting for the right that's the favorite thing to say. Oh, we're just waiting for the right time to bring her back.
Right.
Are you sure about that? Because it feels like there's been a handful of times over the last year or so you could have brought her back. There have been shows in Pittsburgh. There have been surprise opportunities and like battle royal-esque matches, and you never brought her back. So it's just like, I don't know what stars you're waiting on to align to be like, oh, well, we're finally going to bring her back. Because it's just like you're insulting the fans' intelligence at this point because we're seeing right through you. Just say you don't want her anymore, let her go somewhere else, and that's it. But they just are refusing to do that. And someone tried to say once, because I think I was talking to a coworker of mine at work or something, and we were kind of talking about that. and brought up the whole, oh, well, she's a locker room cancer, blah, blah, blah. And she should be thankful that Tony's even willing to like pay her the rest of the contract. And it's just like, okay, but if you're a wrestler with any decent merit, I don't think what you want to do is just get held in purgatory for a year, 2 years, 3 years just to collect a paycheck.
Right.
Like, if you're any wrestler worth their weight, you want to actually wrestle. So I don't think this is exactly her ideal job scenario. Like, so I don't really think that this should be spun as, well, Tony's doing her a favor by still honoring her contract. And it's just like, I think that's a cop-out, I think, kind of answer. I mean, like, I also don't think the excuse of, well, you signed the contract, so you need to honor it really works here, because I don't think that this is exactly how I think anybody expected things to play out between those two. So, yeah, she signed it, but I also don't think she was expecting this to happen either.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion on it. So I just think it's just kind of bullshit. I just wish, like you said, Tony would just come out and say what he actually wants to say, because I feel like he's just continuously giving the same HR friendly answer that he just doesn't want to rock the boat. But it's just like, dude, come on. Either put your money where your mouth is and actually bring her back out because she's such an important part of your division, or just flat out say, we just don't want to use her anymore and let her go.
Nice.
It's getting tired of hearing the same answer over and over again.
I hear you. Now, what'd you think? What'd you give them the match rating? What was your match rating for Mina Shirakawa versus Athena?
Okay, yeah, I guess I didn't do that. I gave that one 3.5 flames. It was pretty solid. I feel like it could have been better, but it also wasn't a total downer. I definitely enjoyed it.
Nice. Yeah, I gave it also 3.5 flames out of 5. So moving on. For the Continental Championship, we had Jon Moxley defending the title against somebody that's been a thorn in his side, Kyle O'Reilly. This one went down pretty much how you would expect it to be if you're familiar with both men. Both are heavy into MMA, and the match was heavy with ankle locks and various submissions. This match had some enjoyable moments, but with Moxley, his matches tend to be a little bit slower pace, which can sometimes have the viewer lose focus on the match. Solid wrestling match if you're a fan of grappling and submissions, but outside of that, nothing noteworthy. Moxley traps O'Reilly in an ankle lock, which is kind of ironic because that was his kryptonite against O'Reilly, but he traps him in the ankle lock and O'Reilly is forced to tap. Moxley retains the Continental Championship. I gave this one 3.5 flames out of 5.
All right, so the problem I had with this match, let me start off by saying it was a good match. It wasn't, I mean, it was technically sound. Like you said, nothing to really write home about. But I think that's the problem I'm having with the match, because I feel like in the past, these two have beat the ever-living shit out of each other.
Right.
So you would have thought that we would have gotten more of that in this match, and I feel like you're just sitting there waiting for another gear to hit, and it just never happened, which was... I feel like it got there a little bit, but I feel like it took way too long to get there, where it's like, these two should have just been throwing haymakers at each other right out of the gate. It shouldn't have taken as long as they did to get even close to the violence that they've had in their matches before. So I was a little disappointed it just took so long, but yeah, it was just another solid match. I feel like this one could have fallen under the category of, did we really need this on the card? Probably not, but again, it was still solid. It wasn't insulting or anything. I just wish it would have kicked into another gear sooner, but other than that, though, it wasn't really, what do we always say? It wasn't horrifically offensively bad, so... Right. We'll give it that. So I gave it 3.5 flames as well.
Awesome. We're on the same page here. All right. So moving on, this one I was definitely looking forward to. They kind of build it as a dream match between the two. Ospreay was definitely looking at it as a dream match. This was in the Owen Hart Cup tournament quarterfinal match between Will Ospreay and Samoa Joe. I found this one to be quite enjoyable. You can see Ospreay has definitely stepped up and added to his game since since aligning himself with the Death Riders. Samoa Joe, to me, might be the most adaptable wrestler in AEW, as he took Ospreay's best shot and took it right back to him. This one had a good pace to it, and it really kept you locked in as a viewer. If this was a main event where they could have gone 40 to 45 minutes, they probably could have cooked up something good. Ospreay gets the win and advances in the Owen Hart Cup tournament, hitting Samoa Joe with 2 hidden blade attacks. I gave this one 3 3/4 flames out of 5.
Yeah, this one was definitely what it lived up to be. We definitely predicted this was going to be one of the better matches of the night, and yeah, it definitely was, for sure. We also said this was going to be like definitely the biggest test for Ospreay in this new like style of his,
Right.
because you got to bring everything you have when you're facing someone like Samoa Joe, because
Right.
if you even have the slightest hint of weakness, he's gonna mess you up. So I think he did pretty well. I'd say he still had that little bit of the aerial assassin with him, but he also had more of an edge to him. I mean, hell, he went right at Samoa Joe before he took him right off his game, right off the bat. And that was smart. That was definitely smart. I mean, obviously Joe ended up recovering, and then we got a little more back and forth, which I appreciated, because they just fit so well with each other, and they had great chemistry, and pretty much lived up to everything that we were hoping for. And it was, it was really good. Definitely can't really complain about it. Definitely one of the better matches of the card, for sure. I do agree with you. I wish we would have had more time with it, because I feel like it could have easily been match of the night if it had more time allowed, but unfortunately wasn't supposed to be one of the highlights of the card. It's just a shame, because a lot of people were drooling over this match when they announced it. So I still can't complain about it, though. Definitely one of my more favorites of the night. So I gave this one 3 3/4 flames.
Nice. We're pretty much lockstep with our rating so far.
What else is new? I mean, we're so good.
Nice. Well, this next match, I want to know if my thoughts on this match is a hot take to you or not. And I'm talking about Swerve Strickland taking on the ROH World Champion Bandito in the Owen Hart Cup quarterfinal match. Now, here's my hot take. I haven't really been high on Swerve since his last match with Hangman. Since then, to me personally, he just feels like another guy on the roster. No mystique or aura that sets him apart from anyone else. Couple that with me never really being high on Bandito, this match was hard for me to get into. Swerve spent some time attacking the neck of Bandito, and this would prove to be useful as Bandito couldn't bridge properly after a 21-plex. Bandito attempts the move again, but this time Swerve is able to counter the move with a vertebreaker. Swerve follows it up with a house call, winning the match and advancing in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. I gave this one 3.5 flames out of 5. Like I said, I haven't really been that high on Swerve as of late. He just kind of hasn't really set him apart from anyone else, and it doesn't bring any interest to me. Is that sort of a hot take?
Yeah, I would say a little bit. I do feel like they were setting up something with Swerve when he came back and kind of turned heel and was just like, oh, if this is like, I was already the most dangerous man in pro wrestling, or AEW, you ain't seen nothing yet. And I feel like they've just kind of forgotten about that a little bit. I don't really know what that's all about. I feel like when you see what he did with Hangman versus what he's doing now, it's just like, it seems very underwhelming to me. This match itself wasn't bad. I just feel like it's already kind of tough when the outcome's so predictable that you're just like, I mean, do we really even care? Because it's like, Swerve's winning, and that was never going to be in any doubt. I feel like that was one of our easier picks of the predictions episode, but they at least did a good job of keeping it entertaining. I mean, the whole thing with Bandito's neck and him not being able to bridge, and I mean, he did a good job, because he had me worried for a minute, because I thought he actually did fuck his neck up, but I mean, I guess he's just good at acting, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, nothing else about it was really nothing really to write home about, to be honest. I feel like this is, again, unfortunately, another one of those that we could have just had as the main event of a Collision or Dynamite, and it would have been just fine. yeah, it's like I'm still waiting for Swerve to actually be the most dangerous man in AEW because I'm just not seeing it right now, which is a shame because I'm a huge fan of Swerve. I've loved him for years, so it's like, okay, you can actually let him do more things, or is it just like you're just kind of waiting for him to be this like psychotic, unhinged guy when a title's on the line? Like, is that what we're waiting for? But if that's the case, it's just like you're making him talk a big game and he's writing a check his mouth can't cash right now, and it's sad. It's very sad because I expected a lot more. So hopefully that translates into something down the line. But for now, it's just been very disappointing. But as far as the match went, I also gave it 3.5. It was solid. It did its job, and yeah, that's about it.
All right. So again, we're lockstep with our ratings. Pretty much almost all of our ratings so far have been the same. That takes us to the four-way match between Tekla, the AEW Women's World Champion, taking on Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, and Hikaru Shida. Now, this was interesting because this was a match where all four competitors have been world champions before, so you're getting pretty solid work from pretty dependable people, and I think all four women did a great job of keeping themselves in the match. I really enjoyed the little stories they were telling throughout the match. How would the partnership of Statlander and Shida work out? Tekla and Hayter going at it. When Tekla attacked Hayter when she first arrived to AEW, then even matchup of Hayter and Statlander. All these individual stories made for an enjoyable match. We seemingly saw the disillusion of the partnership between Shida and Statlander when Shida broke up Stat's pin, whacking her with the kendo stick. Shida gets pulled out of the ring and Tekla takes advantage, hitting Statlander with a curb stomp for the win. I'm usually not too high on multi-person matches, but this one was well done. I gave it 3 3/4 flames out of 5.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't really do them any favors with the spot on the card. I feel like, especially for what was happening before. I mean, you know what? I'll give them a little bit of credit. I'm glad they didn't put them after the Stadium Stampede because they would have had to work overtime to get the crowd back,
right,
even somewhat alive, because they were already starting to kind of wear themselves out at this point. Because again, as we said, stop putting so many matches on so late into the night. Like the fact that in the first hour alone, we had 2 matches. We literally only went through 2 matches out of 10 or so in an hour is insane. It's wild. I get that you want to make it a big deal and whatever, but we're getting exhausted, man. You got to give us a break somehow. But thankfully, we all know what we expect from all these women in the ring in this match. They all had their time to shine. Tekla was obviously the star of this because kind of hard not to be because her charisma's just through the roof at all times.
Right.
So obviously she's going to stand out no matter what match she's in. Yeah, I kind of talked about it on the prediction show. I was interested to see if we were going to see a little bit more of like the heel Shida we've been alluded to the last few weeks or so. And yeah, I'd say we got it. I don't think there's going to be any love lost between her and Stat now. So at least now there's a little storyline going there. So we have some more stuff outside of the title picture. What are we going to do with Jamie, though? Is she going to go back with like the Brawling Birds? Because obviously it depends on who the wild card is, but clearly I don't think Windsor's making it out of the first round. So I'd assume they'd possibly be going after Megan Bayne and Lena Cross. Who knows? And yeah, Tekla's just going to wait to see who her next challenger is, but the right call was made. Obviously, we knew there was no way Tekla was losing that title and shouldn't lose it anytime soon. No. But yeah, it's a pretty enjoyable match. I had fun watching it. Stat was obviously the hometown hero. I'm glad she got that big reaction. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where everybody goes from here. But obviously, the right woman won. Tekla better not lose that belt anytime soon. But yeah, I gave this one 3 3/4 flames. It was pretty entertaining.
Nice. All right. So I got another hot take for you about the next match we're going to talk about. Probably the most polarizing match that we're going to talk about and that is the Stadium Stampede. Now, I can't even remember all of the people that were in the Stadium Stampede. On Team Jericho, you had Jericho, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Jungle Jack, Perry, and I think that's it.
Yeah, sure.
And
I mean,
I think that's it. And then you had Team Ricochet, which had Ricochet and Bishop Khan, Toa Lee. Oh, I forgot the Hurt Syndicate also was on Team Jericho. I forgot about the Hurt Syndicate. But on Team Ricochet was Ricochet, Bishop Khan, Toa Leona, Mark Davis, Andrade, and the Dogs, Clark Connors and David Finlay. Yeah, call me boring, but this match just wasn't for me. I have a hard enough time paying attention to a regular match, let alone one with like 14 people all fighting at once in different parts of the arena. Why wouldn't you pin Andrade after hitting him with a one-winged angel through the table? Ricochet was getting worked by Team Jericho when Bishop Khan shoves Ricochet out of the way before Ricochet could eat a Judas elbow. Team Jericho super kicks Bishop, followed by Jericho hitting the Lion Salt for the win. And I'm just old. My hot take was this was not for me. This was probably this was the lower rated match on that I had in my notes. I only gave this one 3 out of 5. It's just, these matches are not for me. If you like them, God bless you. That's cool. You're allowed to enjoy it. Wrestling is subjective, but it just wasn't for me. Is that really a hot take, or am I okay here? Am I safe? Am I gonna get canceled?
I don't. I mean, I hope not. I hope not. But I think the biggest problem with this match, especially, is it's already tough enough sometimes to pay attention to some of these multi-person matches to begin with. But when you have 14 men in the ring and wherever at one point, it's just too much shit to keep track of. I think the bigger problem with it is that the problem is we've had some entertaining Stadium Stampedes before. Right. So I don't think, at least in this case, it was the match itself per se. I just think it was the people involved. Because when you actually have a Stadium Stampede where there is a cohesive storyline going through it into this match to be the big payoff for it. Right. That's when it's entertaining. This was a mess because we talked about it on the predictions episode that it just felt like, well, we need to get everybody on here to get a payday. And yeah, these guys are all involved in some storyline in one shape or form. Yeah, we'll just like throw them all in there. Right. Like whatever. And it's just like, yeah, that showed. That really showed, because it's just like, why are we supposed to care about this match entirely? Like, why are the good guys wrestling in suits? Like, what's up with that? Like, we're supposed to expect that Davis got killed because he got hit by a bus. Like, it had its entertaining moments, but again, this goes to show that AEW needs to have a cohesive storyline going into a match like this, or just really any insane stipulation they have, because you can't just rely on the fact that, well, it's a stipulation match, so it's going to be entertaining. Yeah, that only works so far, but you got to give us a reason to care other than the fact of, oh, it's a Stadium Stampede. Like, I get that that's a like Double or Nothing's trademark match, so it's like you couldn't not put it on the card, but you need to give us a reason to actually care. And I just don't think that this year there was just nothing to care about, because it was just a mess of 7 guys on each side that really had nothing to do with each other other than convenience, I guess. But yeah, it was tough. It was just, and especially with as late into the night as it was, yeah. I think you and I agreed, and Mom even commented on this too, you either need to start the show with that match or end it with that match, because there's just so much shit to try and pay attention to at once. It sucks the life out of a crowd so fast. And you put it on right before the main event.
Yeah, and that's
not really smart.
That's the crazy part was it started at 11 o'clock. I saw the clock and it finished exactly at 11:30, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And
we're just like,
this just go back to, like, why not start the pay-per-view earlier? What's the harm in starting the pay-per-view at 6 p.m.?
Yeah, we wouldn't care.
Yeah,
Like,
it'll be over by 10. Everybody can get home. Nobody's burnt out. Nobody's feel like they've been through, a war watching this thing, trying to stay focused. Like, what's the harm in starting at 6 p.m.?
yeah, literally, it's like WWE does it all the time for their bigger shows, so why can't AEW? It's just like you're doing the fans a disservice because a lot of these matches could be so much better if the crowd was actually into it, but they're just struggling to stay awake.
Yeah.
Like, I've had friends that have gone to shows like this. I think I even had a friend that went to like one of the original Grand Slams, and he's just like, I didn't get home until almost 1:32 in the morning, and I was just trying to get through transportation and everything. So it's just like, if you have an adult job to have to go back to after this, God help you, because it's just like, there's just no way. Like, and I can imagine with it being out in Queens, I'm sure the traffic situation out there is not great.
No,
there
there was no way. The videos that I saw of just the hordes of people that were stranded there trying to find a way back to their hotel, their homes. It was insane. It was insane.
Yeah, it's just it's killing me. It's just like you think you'd get it. I'm not even going to say get used to it. We shouldn't have to get used to this every pay-per-view. And you can't tell me that they're not hearing this because it's starting to become more and more of a common thing and a common issue that fans have. Is like you need to have these either have shorter cards. I think that's our biggest thing too. If you just shorten the card, you would have so much more like time to tell these stories. You wouldn't have this unnecessary filler that it's like we have to feel the need to shove everybody in here because they need their payday. It's like they can have their time, but we don't need to see half these matches. If you shaved these down, even if you started at 7 or 8 o'clock, you'd still get done at a decent time.
Yeah.
Like Clash in Italy, for example, which we're going to be talking about later, right now has 5 matches. That's it.
And it's in 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, which I mean that's the only thing that sucks about it is it's European time. But if it was like a regular pay-per-view time, it would literally be on at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. It would be over by like 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Sign me up for that all day long. Because like at least it gives me enough time to just decompress from the show as opposed to AEW's where it's like, oh, it's 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning and I feel exhausted and now I have to like try and get ready for work the next day, or I have to try and just like focus on something else, or it's just like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do now? Like if it's on randomly on a Saturday, the rest of your night's just like ruined.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, some people are night owls like us, but it would just be nice to sometimes have a pay-per-view where it's ending at a decent time and I could be watching YouTube or playing video games for like an hour or two after. That would be fantastic. I can't do that with AEW's pay-per-views because I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted and I feel like I want to go to bed, but I can't. So I'm just like in limbo for an hour of, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? But I don't know. I don't know why they just feel the need that we have to stuff this card full because it's just like WWE learned their lesson and they're doing just fine. So why is AEW not following suit?
Right. So as far as the match, what is your rating for the Stadium Stampede?
Oh, I love how we keep going on these soapboxes and we forget we actually have to rank these matches. I gave it 3 1/4 flames. It's like it had its entertaining moments, but it's just like you got to give me a reason to care other than the fact that it's Stadium Stampede. That doesn't impress me that much. Like, come on, guys. Do a little better job next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said there was no real logical storyline going in to build up this match. So there was no reason to really get excited for it. Whereas other Stadium Stampedes had continuous build throughout dynamites and collisions that made the match more anticipated. And I think that was a misstep that they did this year where they just kind of tried to mash a whole bunch of storylines together and get a whole bunch of guys in one match to get a payday. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, they literally forgot that, oh shit, this is like our staple match or Double or Nothing now. I got to get it on the card. Yeah, they're good enough. Just go out there and do it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so that takes us to the main event. Thank God we finally have made it to the main event for the AEW World Championship. It is a hair versus title match between Darby Allin defending the world title against the former champion MJF. And it took me about 10 seconds into the match for me to say, oh fuck, thanks to Darby Allin doing something insane. That dive that he took to the outside where MJF moved out of the way and he just folded up against the commentary table. Oh, it was just grotesque.
Yeah, it was where to begin with this match. This is another match where it kind of like, I'm not going to say it sucked, but it was almost just like, well, we knew that MJF was winning because we talked about it ad nauseum in the predictions episode of like, he's not going to go through all of this stuff, fixing his hair in Turkey and whatever to literally have it shaved off months later. Like, it was just never going to happen. But I feel like they just bought into that storyline with Darby that we weren't a fan of from the beginning of, oh, his body's finally like quitting on him and oh, well, that's just a shame. I mean, you can't really blame him. He just got stretched too thin. And it's just like, okay, well, this is Darby Allin we're talking about. So I don't really think it did a service. It was a disservice to his character, but whatever. We've talked about that before. But the match itself, it wasn't bad. I just feel like, I don't know if you felt the same way. It almost just felt like there was something missing, but I couldn't tell what. It just felt like this should have been a bigger match than it actually ended up being.
Right.
Maybe it was the fact that we knew MJF was winning right off the bat, and so it kind of like took away from it a little bit, but I don't know, man. It was just, I mean, there was that, I mean, the dive off the stage onto the table on the stage, that was painful, and then clearly Darby caught his head off the side of the back of the table because God, he was bleeding in a very weird spot. It was just in the back of his head and it was nasty and
yeah, there was
just
there was a lot of spots in this match that were very interesting. Like moments later in the match, Darby attempts a coffin drop to the apron and he comes up empty. So it felt like he was doing a lot of things to damage his body and further empty his tank. Now that allowed MJF to hit a wicked package pile driver on turned up steel steps. I don't know how much more Darby can take at this moment. This match hasn't been going on for too long at this point. Somehow Darby finds the wherewithal to apply the Scorpion Deathlock, tries to follow it up with a coffin drop, but MJF gets his knees up. Later on, Darby attempts another dive to the outside. This time, MJF pulls a cameraman in front of him to take the blow. The action moves to the top of the stage where, like you said, Darby climbs to the scaffolding set up 20 feet in the air and comes crashing down onto MJF through a table with a coffin drop. Now back in the ring, Darby locks in a Scorpion Deathlock but passes out quickly due to exhaustion. After a brief battle, Darby has an opening to hit a coffin drop, but MJF disrupts his balance, leaving Darby straddling the turnbuckle. MJF heads to the second rope, then drops Darby with an avalanche tombstone and gets the win. MJF becomes the 8th man in pro wrestling history to win his 3rd world championship by the age of 30. This match was fine, but the ending sort of fell flat with me because it ended so abruptly. However, if you're going to beat someone, an avalanche tombstone is probably a good way to do it. I gave this match 3 3/4 flames out of 5. I understand what you meant about the match kind of missing something, and I think it was very evident of that at the very end where he hits the avalanche tombstone and you're expecting Darby Allin to kick out. You're expecting him to kick out because of all the crazy shit he's already put his body through. We usually don't see MJF break that out as a finishing maneuver. He might have, would have went with the heat seeker or something like that, the arm bar or something like that. But this ended up taking Darby out and MJF wins. He wins the world championship, just like we said. He doesn't get his head shaved. And now this was the part that kind of took me out of the entire thing here. As the medical team is strapping Darby to the gurney, MJF sees a chance to gloat over the broken body of Darby Allin. MJF is ran off by Kevin Knight, who comes to the rescue of Darby Allin. Suddenly from the top rope, Knight leaps and hits a UFO splash onto Darby while he's strapped to the gurney. I don't mean this in a horrified wrestling fan sort of way. I mean this in the most literal sense. Why?
Yeah.
Why did this happen? What'd you think about the whole situation with Kevin Knight coming in and doing further damage to Darby Allin when he was basically a corpse?
Yeah, it was funny because you and I were definitely very confused talking about it at the end because, for starters, we didn't really need that because the point of a pay-per-view ending, for the most part, is that we always say is that you have to get people intrigued enough to watch Dynamite or Collision the next week. Like, oh, well, what's going to happen now that MJF's the champion again? What are we going to do with this? What are we going to do with that? That's all you needed. That was it. That's all you needed. And we don't want people to take this the wrong way, but it's going to come off horrible, but there's really no other way to say it. But no one cares, for the most part, that Kevin Knight turned heel, because it just doesn't make me go, oh shit, I gotta watch Dynamite next week. I gotta watch Collision to see why did he do this, because it's like, for some reason, they're just trying to force Kevin Knight onto like the main event scene, and it's just really not making any sense, which is a shame because the guy's not bad. He's good, but he's not main event title worthy yet. So I'm not sure what the whole point of this is. It just doesn't really make sense to me. It just took what was already going to be a decent ending to the show and just kind of like threw a wet blanket on it, because it's just like, oh, that's how it's going to end. Like, I don't know. I think like the only thing I could really think of was like, oh, that should have been me. But even then, it's just like, that still doesn't really make a whole lot of sense at all. I mean, it's just, I think I put it best. I kind of like went back through our text exchange. I said, no one's really even clamoring for Kevin and like Knight enough to warrant that anyway. So it's like, why? And you even said it yourself in the text. You said that they've just been trying way too hard to try and get him over as like the next hottest thing, and it's just not happening. It's just, it just seems way too random, way too forced, and like we said, it's just not. It's not like making me so intrigued that I'm like, I can't miss Dynamite next week. I can't miss Collision next week. I have to see what they're gonna do with this. It just makes me more confused, if anything, because you said it better. You said it better than I did. It was almost just like, we just got to do something random for the sake of doing something random. Oh yeah, that'll work. We'll just do that. And it's just like you said, why? And not like, oh, Kevin Knight, why would you do that to Darby? It's like, why is this even a thing? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like running to the box office to, oh my God, we're going to get Darby Allin and Kevin Knight. Oh my God, this is a match of the year contender waiting to have. It's like, no one's saying that. Literally nobody is saying that.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
The only thing I can think of is something that I saw online, which is Kevin Knight on the Dynamite before the pay-per-view went to Darby Allin and went out there and said, "Don't let us down, Darby Allin, da 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 da. We're all rooting for you. Please don't disappoint us." All that other good stuff, and now he feels slighted by that because Darby couldn't get the job done. He maybe kind of meant it as a warning, like, don't let us down, Darby, or I'm gonna have to take you out, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, and I think again, if it was, I don't know. Again, it's like, I feel like we're dogging on Kevin Knight, which is a shame. It's just kind of the truth right now, where it's like, if that was coming from anybody else's mouth, I think that would have raised some red flags in our head of like, why is he saying that? Like, why is this, like, are we alluding to something? Is something weird going to happen? It was just the fact that it was Kevin Knight and felt like kind of like a pedestrian in the storyline. I guess maybe that was why they did it, because they're like, oh, no one's going to suspect Kevin Knight. And it's like, yeah, because no one cared enough to think he was going to do that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's the thing. It's just like, I don't know. Maybe he's going to be a great heel, and maybe he's going to make us all eat our words, which is like, yeah, maybe, but it's still just like, I don't know why we need this. No one's asking for this. No one wanted this. And that, you didn't need a shock factor to end your pay-per-view. It was just the fact that MJF didn't have to shave his head and he's standing over Darby's corpse on the stretcher. It's like, that could have been your ending right there. That should have been your ending right there. That's it.
Yeah.
You hit the work mark, you go to, like, you shut the stream down, it's over. That's it. That's all you needed. And this is we have with AEW, where it's just like, they just do things for the sake of doing things because they feel like they need to. We have to do this. We have to do that. We have to make it a surprise. We have to do this. And sometimes they miss the easy, like, law balls. And then there's some things where it's just like, you really didn't need to do that, but you did it anyway.
Yeah.
And it is so inconsistent, and it drives me nuts because I don't know. I just feel bad because poor Kevin Knight's going to have to go out there on Dynamite this week and fully just try and get people to do mental gymnastics to explain what the whole point of this is. So I feel bad for him because he's already going to be fighting from below, but if he can do it, more power to him. But it's just like, god damn, they put him in a really unenviable position.
Gonna be tough, but thankfully we have a 3-hour AEW Dynamite collision block, and I mean that sarcastically.
For your sake, yeah.
A 3-hour AEW block of TV where we're gonna have a championship celebration for MJF, and probably gonna get some more explanation as to why Kevin Knight did what he did and ended the pay-per-view the way the pay-per-view ended. Now, overall, this pay-per-view was solid. More of the matches were good than offensive. I gave this pay-per-view a B- grade. What about you?
Yeah, I also gave it a B-. It was unfortunately just the same. AEW pay-per-view horrors persisted. We still had at least, except unfortunately now I think it's getting worse because there used to be on most of these cards, like, oh, okay, maybe there's like one match that we don't really like need on this pay-per-view card, but we're getting it anyway. Now I feel like we're getting multiple a card, and it's a very concerning trend because you don't need to pad the card, guys, just because you feel like you have to. Again, it's just like, you guys don't need to do something because you feel like, oh my god, we can't live without this. Like, sometimes less is more. Sometimes just go for the smaller pay-per-view cards, spend more time on the matches and making them worthwhile, and I promise you people are going to like your pay-per-views more. But this one was good. It was, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. More matches were, good at the very least. There wasn't really anything off the top of my head that I'm like, oh god, that was absolutely awful. They were all pretty good. Some were great. Some were just whatever, they're there. But yeah, I'd say B- is a pretty solid grade for it.
Yeah, can't hate on a B- grade. I think that's a very solid grade for an AEW pay-per-view, especially one where we're just like, please just get it over with already.
Yeah, well, we have to do the test. We have to do the ringside rundown test. Was it worth the money to buy the pay-per-view?
I would say yes, because it was intriguing. Again, usually when it comes to AEW pay-per-views, I usually sometimes, because they're so long, I wait till the next day to watch it, and if something gets spoiled for me, it gets spoiled for me. I don't get too bent out of shape. However, there was a lot of this card that I was willing to say I have to invest in and watch it now because I don't want it spoiled for me, and I'm talking about the main event, Konosuke Takeshita versus Okada, Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe, the women's 4-way match, all matches that I definitely wanted to see and not have spoiled for me. So I definitely enjoyed those matches, and I'd say that those were well worth the price of admission.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I feel like the ending definitely didn't make it worth it, but unfortunately that's just one thing on top of an entire show. But yeah, I'd say overall, but again, I think the ending just kind of sucked the life out of me, but I feel like overall the pay-per-view was worth it, even though at the very end I'm just like, literally, that's what we're going to end on. That was stupid. But overall, yeah, I would say it was worth the money.
There you go. So that is our breakdown of AEW Double or Nothing 2026. A rather enjoyable show, some missteps, but overall pretty enjoyable. And like I said, I sarcastically await to see what's going to happen. Basically today, if you're listening to the show when it first comes out, it drops Wednesday morning. Wednesday evening, there's a 3-hour block of AEW programming, 2-hour Dynamite, 1-hour Collision. So we're going to have a lot to talk about for that show coming up. But a show we have a lot to talk about is coming up on Sunday. It's a PLE for WWE. I'm talking about Clash in Italy that's happening in Turin, Italy. The show, if you're on the East Coast, is starting at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and you only have 5 matches to worry about. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to do our predictions, and I'm going to predict the right amount to get my title back from Shay. And it's going to be a good one. Well, like I said, 4 out of 5 of these matches are for titles. So a lot of matches have some high stakes to them, so they definitely can't miss. So why don't we get right into it?
All right, let's get into it.
All right, gonna start off hot with the first match we're gonna run down. It is Cody Rhodes defending the undisputed WWE Championship against the ring general, the career killer Gunther. This one I've been really enjoying because I really feel like they're gonna deliver a good match. Gunther has not had a bad match. I think Gunther is incapable of having a bad match, and when you have that kind of person, Cody Rhodes can really work off for that. Now, this is kind of tough because Gunther has retired Goldberg. Gunther has retired John Cena. Gunther has retired AJ Styles. With that track record, he really shouldn't lose. But this is Cody Rhodes here. So it makes it a little difficult, but I'm going to give my chips in for Cody Rhodes. What about you?
We're not going to need a tiebreaker then, because I completely disagree with you on this one, I think.
Really?
So here's the problem I'm having. The fans are not really with Cody right now. They're starting to get that fatigue with him. And the issue I'm having is, say you're actually right and Cody wins. Who's next off the top of your head that's like, oh yeah, he can definitely beat Cody, or yeah, he could definitely challenge Cody? Like, who can you think of right now? Like,
that does make it tough.
Yeah, see, exactly. The fact that you have to think about it pretty much tells you they don't have anybody to be another credible challenger for Cody. And I feel like the problem is they're walking a very fine line with him right now. And do you really want the fans to turn on one of your more popular stars that, again, because that's all that matters, is making you a shit ton of money? Because you kind of have that whole thing with Sami Zayn kind of going on. So I feel like even if Cody loses the title, he still has something to do. And perhaps that can help get back some of these fans that are probably sick and tired of seeing him with the title right now.
Right.
And you said it yourself, Gunther's retired all of these big names. And so it would just be very hard for me to believe that he would go through all those big names just to turn around and lose a title match to Cody at this current time. It just seems a little, it would seem very anticlimactic for him to do all those big things just for him to turn right around and just lose to Cody. So I feel like if they knew what was good for them, they should give the title to Gunther, which is why I'm leaning towards Gunther, because I feel like it just makes more sense, because I feel like there's more potential for the roster. You'd have more potential challengers for somebody like Gunther as compared to Cody. Like, the fact, like, it took you more than like a half a second to even think about, you couldn't even come up with somebody. So the fact that there's nobody in line right now to face Cody, whereas you have a little bit more potential if Gunther's the champion, because you have at least a couple more good guys on your roster on SmackDown than you do credible heels at this point. I feel like you got to keep the train rolling on Gunther. So you know what? Two pay-per-views in a row. We don't need a tiebreaker. I'm going with Gunther to beat Cody for the title.
Wow. Okay, I see how it is. No, I think you brought up some very good points, especially again the fact that Gunther has retired so many big names in succession. He really shouldn't be losing anytime soon. But to me, Cody Rhodes is like golden boy. You know, he's the chosen one to kind of be the QB for WWE. But if Gunther wins, I'll be excited. I won't be happy that I lose the title, but I will be excited to see what Gunther as undisputed champion is going to look like.
Well, then we'll see what you think when that actually happens. So.
All right. So moving on, we have a match for the women's championship between champion Rhea Ripley defending the championship against Jade Cargill. This is sort of like a WrestleMania rematch, and I'm not mad at it. You know what? Because I got to give Jade Cargill a lot of credit. She has improved greatly in the ring. She's really putting it together, understanding that her athletic ability and her size differentiates her from the rest of the division, and she's really using that to her advantage. And so she's been having great performances, although I think they're not going to switch the title. I think Rhea Ripley is just far too popular, far too good with the fans, and the fans still go crazy when she comes out, that there's no real reason to take the title off of her. I'm putting my chips in for Rhea Ripley. What about you?
Yeah, this one's rather easy for me. It's like Rhea's not losing that title anytime soon. I will agree with you. I will give Jade a lot of credit. She is definitely making us eat our words now. Took a while, but she's finally putting it all together, and she's definitely better off for it. I mean, their match at WrestleMania was not bad. So if we get a rundown or a rerun of it, I'm not going to complain. It's interesting to me though. I feel like the fatigue that people are feeling with Cody is like non-existent with Rhea. I don't know what it is, because I feel like she could easily have fatigue. There definitely, and I'm sure there are some like small little minorities that are like sick of Rhea having the title and whatever, but for whatever reason, the general like overall fandom really is not mad. So I mean, I'm okay with that because of course I love Rhea, but yeah, no, the match is going to be pretty good. Going to be interested to see if like Charlotte Flair has any like, I don't know, added like interest or any like an extra caveat in the match, because obviously there's a little bit of tension still between her and Rhea, and I feel like you could easily go with, oh, well, maybe something like that comes up again and costs Rhea the title and Jade gets it back. But I'm like, I don't think they should do that right away. If they do, that's a very stupid thing to do. You just got to keep the title on Rhea. At the end of the day, it's just like that's probably one of, if not the easiest pick on the card. You got to keep that title on Rhea, and she is not losing that anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is pretty easy to tell that Rhea is going to keep the title, but what we're looking forward to is a good match. If we get a good match, I think we'll both be satisfied.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. All right, moving on. For the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Becky Lynch will be defending the title against Sol Ruca. They're kind of doing this thing with Becky where she's having really like substantially not long feuds, but more than one PLE, more than one setting matches with certain opponents, and Sol Ruca is just the next one. Sol Ruca has been doing great on the main roster. She's just hasn't been able to hit the Soul Snatcher on the main roster clean for some reason, which is very interesting. I don't know what it is that she hasn't been able to hit the move clean. I think once she hits that move clean and people actually see it, they're gonna be, wow, she really can get it done. She did have a great showing from what I saw from Saturday night's main event. Just, it just went down the way it did. I think Becky Lynch is going to win this match because she's going to show that it may be not too soon for Sol Ruca to be on the main roster, but maybe too soon for Sol Ruca to be going after a championship. So I think Becky Lynch is going to retain the Women's Intercontinental Championship.
All right, so this is interesting. I feel like I think I may be thinking the opposite with you on this one. I feel like Becky's entire not even just this reign. I think every time she's held this title, I feel like the main goal of it in some way, shape, or form is to put somebody over with it. Because she's done it with Lyra, she's done it with Maxine, et cetera, et cetera. Why would Soul be no different? I think. I feel like I get that putting her up against Becky right away is just like, oh, it's a good it's a good test for her, but she's just not ready yet, and oh, she'll get her next time. It's okay. But I feel like why else would they be doing this soon? And I feel like it was, I mean, the DQ finish at Saturday night's main event was also kind of like gave us a reason to have run this match back again. So I feel like maybe, just maybe, they're gonna try and strap the rocket to Sol Ruca because, I mean, people still love her. She's wildly popular, still great in the ring. Yeah, when she hits the Soul Snatcher like clean, it's gonna be insane. Like, people are gonna lose their minds, and rightfully so, because it's definitely one of, if not the coolest wrestling move in WWE today, like one of the coolest finishers. I feel like it's tough because it's almost just like when you think of the women's intercontinental title, you think of Becky, so it'd feel very weird not to have her with that title. But I feel like if you want to make a good first impression, throw that title on Sol Ruca and see what she can do with it, because she can make it a workhorse title if she wanted. And again, I feel like if that's Becky's like goal with being the Intercontinental Champion, is to like put the other like part of their other women's roster over, why not do it with Sol Ruca too? So you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here. We don't even need a tiebreaker anyway, so who cares? I'm gonna go with Sol Ruca's gonna pull off the upset on this one. I think she's gonna get the title.
Oh wow, 2 matches. I think this is one of the first times where we had 2 matches.
I know.
You know, where we differed on opinion here. This is crazy. Who are you?
Is that why it's about to storm outside? Like, maybe, I don't know who you are anymore.
Yeah.
This is weird.
All right, moving on, going for the only match that is on the card that is not for a title. This is a singles match, but it's a WrestleMania rematch between Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar. Now, I know you're not too high on Brock Lesnar, but I am anticipating this match because I'm interested in seeing the WrestleMania match was a general squash match. You know, I want to see if this match here is going to have a little bit more back and forth, a little bit of brawling between the two, some meat in the match, you know, something good to hold on to. And I don't see them not giving Brock Lesnar this win. There's no way Brock Lesnar goes down 0-2 against Oba Femi. I think this is going to be the first one that Oba Femi loses on the main roster.
Yeah, and I really don't like the fact that I agree with you, because I feel like the only reason Lesnar winning in a scenario where him winning actually makes sense is just they want to do a trilogy with them, which is like, whatever, it is what it is. Like you said, it's like, we all know that I'm not the biggest Lesnar fan at all, so the fact that he's back is not, I don't care. I'll just say it. I really could give a shit less that he's back. I would have preferred him to, you know, not be there, but we're getting it, whether we like it or not. I do agree. It's definitely not, shouldn't be another squash match. I think the dumbest thing they could do is make it a squash match in the reverse, where Lesnar squashes Oba Femi, and then the rubber match is like the actual match between the two of them. It's like, no, I'd actually like to see what happens when they actually have some time to do something, but I don't want to pick against Oba Femi. But the problem is, it's just like, okay, but if he wins, what are they going to do? Is Lesnar going to actually leave for good? I mean, I would prefer it, but I just don't think they're going to do that, because people are going to want more. And if Oba Femi goes up 0-2, there's going to be no reason to do a third. So they have to give something to Lesnar so we can get a trilogy, yada, 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 whatever. Sure. Sure. So whether I like it or not, I think Lesnar's winning, and I will be intently watching this match and totally not not paying attention whatsoever. But yeah, sure.
Gotcha. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, that was painless. Moving on to what I perceive to be the main event of the evening. This one is a tribal combat match for the World Heavyweight Championship, where Roman Reigns will be defending the title against his cousin Jacob Fatu in a Backlash rematch. I'm actually very much looking forward to this one. This one is very interesting because whoever wins this one is going to be acknowledged as the tribal chief of the family. Now, if Roman Reigns is able to defeat Jacob Fatu, he basically says Jacob Fatu has to do his bidding, or Jacob Fatu is without a job. So that is kind of intriguing in terms of picking who do you think is going to win this match. I think there's a lot of meat on that bone to tell a story with Jacob having to do the bidding of Roman Reigns under duress, because he doesn't want to really do it. Now he has to do it because he wasn't able to defeat Roman Reigns and win the heavyweight championship. What do you think?
I feel like, I mean, of course, this is going to be a very like physical match. This is going to be just two big dudes just running at each other full speed. So this is going to be chaotic. This is going to be insane. We're going to get probably a little bit of everything, probably some interference. You know, the Usos are probably going to show up or something, somewhat, whoever. I feel like it just doesn't. Yeah, and it sucks because Fatu's been really good in this feud so far. Really, like we said, on our like past the test episode, he's definitely passed the test of, oh, does he belong in this type of match and feud? And we agree he definitely does, and could very well down the line be a main event champion. Who knows? But I just feel like it wouldn't make any sense to have Roman lose right now. It just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like you go through all this trouble to put the title back on him, and he barely has it for a month, and you like take it off him. It's just, I don't know, it just wouldn't really make any sense. And I feel like there's a lot to the story of, oh, well, now Fatu has to do his bidding, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do with that and where they take that. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Roman on this one. It's probably pretty much the safe bet, but I feel like it just doesn't make any sense to put it on Fatu yet, which is a shame because, again, he's been doing really good work in this feud, but I just don't think it's the time yet.
Nice. I think you hit the nail on the head with a lot of Roman points as far as him winning, but we do have to give Jacob his flowers. He is doing amazing in this build up for this match. His promos have been amazing. He is one hell of a promo on the microphone. Like, when he talks, you listen, and he's been doing great. So I think this match is going to be really good.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think they're going to I feel like Roman's going to use his words against him, because I feel like I think Roman's, when he's at his best, is that like gaslighting, manipulating, kind of conniving asshole, where, think about it, on the build up to their match, the previous match, what did Fatu say? You never had to work for anything. I was the one that had to like fight for all of this and whatnot. And it's like, you don't think Roman's going to throw that back in his face now? Like, it's going to write itself.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting television. It'll be interesting to see how manipulative Roman can really get with Fatu, and he's going to, because that's just how he is. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty fun match. It's going to be wild. We're going to get pretty much a little bit of everything, but at the end of the day, you can't count out the real tribal chief.
That's the facts. We can't count out the real tribal chief. Now, here's the interesting thing when it comes to our predictions. We both differentiate on the Cody Gunther match. I have Cody winning, you have Gunther. We both say Rhea is going to defeat Jade Cargill. Now, we both differentiate on the Becky versus Soul match. So what happens if it goes 1-1? Like, you get maybe the Becky Soul match and I get the Cody Gunther match.
I don't know. We've never had to do this before, have we?
No, we haven't.
Oh, this is fine. Do we have to do a tiebreaker?
I guess so. But I know what my tiebreaker is going to be. I'm going to say that Brock Lesnar hits more than one F5 in the match.
Yeah, it's probably a safe bet on that one. Hmm. Ah, fuck. Uh, you know what? I'm just gonna call what we kind of called earlier. I think we're finally gonna get to see a clean Soul Snatcher from Soul.
I had a feeling that was gonna come up.
I figured that was I mean, I didn't want to go too easy and say, oh, the Usos are going to show up in tribal combat. It's like, because that one can be very hit and miss because what I think is clean might not be what you think is clean. And then we'll yell about it and then we'll be texting about it, yelling at each other. But hopefully it won't come to that.
All right. So our tiebreaker is I think Brock Lesnar is going to hit more than one F5. And you think we're finally going to get a clean Soul Snatcher on the main roster.
Yes.
All right, so that is our predictions for WWE Clash in Italy. That means the title is coming back where it belongs, baby. The show is happening on Sunday afternoon. If you're on the East Coast, it is happening at 2 p.m. It is going to be where the hell are on ESPN? That's right, I forgot. It's going to be on ESPN the first hour of the pay-per-view on ESPN TV, and then it'll be fully on the ESPN Unlimited app. And if you're outside of the United States, it'll be on Netflix. So hopefully you guys can come hang out and watch the show. We're going to let you know in just a little bit where you can watch the show with me and hang out with me as we watch Clash in Italy. Basically, we did everything we said we were going to do as far as our rundown of AEW Double or Nothing and our predictions of Clash in Italy. I think it was a great show.
Yeah, I think we said everything we needed to say. We got on our soapbox a couple times. I feel like we're always good for a couple of those during a recording. But yeah, another solid show. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, just to let you know where you can find this podcast, it's available on all podcast platforms and also on YouTube. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Good Pods, Amazon Music, Audible, basically wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't you worry, if you can't find it on your platform, let us know by hitting us up in the DMs on our social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Ringside Rundown. Hit us up, let us know what platform you use, and we will get you a link to that platform, or if not, we will show you how you can listen to the show on YouTube. For those of you who are curious to check out the show but don't have a podcast platform, the show is also available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@RingsideRunPod. Like I said, we are on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Ringside Rundown. You can also follow us on TikTok at Ringside_Rundown. We also have a Discord server. If you check out the description of this episode, wherever you're listening, it should have the link to our Discord server where you can come chat with us about wrestling, music, movies, sports, TV shows, gaming, whatever you have it. We're building a little community on Discord, so come join the show. It's a lot of fun. And speaking of shows, I do some live streaming every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday on Twitch and on YouTube. Twitch.tv/Ringside Rundown, youtube.com/@RingsideRunPod. Come check me out, whether it's WWE Raw, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, or AEW Collision, or if there is a WWE PLE, that's what we'll be doing, especially on Sunday. A rare Sunday stream for WWE Clash in Italy. Once again, come join me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ringside Rundown, or on YouTube, youtube.com/@RingsideRunPod. Shay, where can they get in touch with you?
You can find me on my wrestling Twitter at @ShayRingside_. And just like we always say, I just copied Eric's homework a little bit, but I didn't make it, I swear.
Yes, we just minor tweaks, that's all.
Just a couple things here and there.
Yes. All right. So next week, our episode will cover Clash in Italy and give you our thoughts on the show with our match ratings. And also we'll be taking some of your questions. So have those questions ready for us to answer on the podcast. We'll answer anything wrestling related, whether it's WWE, AEW, or anything wrestling adjacent. We'll answer it on the podcast. Get those questions ready for next week. For Shay Hickson, my name is Erik Vasquez. Thank you for joining us this week on the podcast. Check you out, guys.
See you later, guys.